Welcome to Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music with your host, multi-award-winning music producer, Eddie Kilroy. And now, here's your host, Eddie Kilroy.
How in the world are you? Gosh, talk is good. You know what? I get excited sometimes, but today I'm really excited because I've got a guy with me that we go back a long way, and we've been friends a long time. We've worked together. We've done a lot of things. We made hit records together. His name is Bobby Borchers. Bobby boy, how are you today?
Great, Eddie. How are you doing?
Any better, I would be awful much better since you're here, Bobby, because there's so much to talk about, and we did so many things, and I don't even know where to start. Gosh, dog it. You know, we made some great records together. We made some hit records. We solved a lot of problems. Tell me what you've been doing besides fishing. I know you're fishing.
Well, I've been writing a few songs and
Good. Never
just
quit
enjoying
writing.
life. Yeah.
Bobby, you've written so many really big songs and good songs too, with a lot of lyrics. Matter of fact, last night I was listening to some of your music. Liz likes Cheap Perfume and Candlelight. I think it's her favorite, and we were listening to that last night. And I was thinking about it's really funny, Bobby. I put something on that we've done, and just kind of close my eyes. And I can see you, I can see Bobby Thompson, I can see Bobby Dyson, everybody just in the same place, just like when we were making the records. It's really kind of weird to look at it that way. It's kind of
Larry
like,
London.
Yeah,
Yep.
Larry London, of course. It's kind of like instead of looking at the music or listening to the music, I'm looking at it when I'm looking at all the players out there and you out there. We had some good times too.
We sure did.
When you're making good music, you go for good times. Oh, you've got dogs?
Well, I've got a couple of dogs just run down them.
Well, that's great, Bobby. I love dogs. I'm glad to have them on the show today. Hey, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going to prove to you that I love dogs and you love dogs. There are a couple other guys, too. I want to show the folks a picture of you, Mac Vickery, and Mickey Gilly singing. By the way, I said Gilly like they say it in Faraday, Louisiana. Mickey Gilly, okay? They call it Gilly in Louisiana, but it's Mickey Gilly. Mickey Gilly, you and Mac Vickery singing Happy Birthday to our Old English sheepdog, Valentine. That's you?
Yeah, I sure did love Valentine.
She loved you. She was a good office dog. She, you know, Bobby, you could pretty much judge the people's character coming in the office as to her reaction. You know, she always loved you. Little David Wilkins. She acted strange around little David. And I think it was because little David was kind of afraid of her and she knew it. But I know when he was sitting there, if you can picture the configuration of the office there, and he would be sitting across the desk and he would just kind of keep inching over a little bit. Well, she's getting a little closer, Kilroy. And I think she felt that little David... or maybe it's because he was just a large guy. I don't know. But anyway, she loved you. And we had a good time having Valentine there. Did I ever tell you how I registered her? Her registered name was Kilroy's Valentine Playmate. And because he was the Playboy colors. We haven't mentioned all of this is happening under the banner of Playboy. Okay, so that's why we're talking about Playboy Records, which... we enjoyed having you on that label so much, and we enjoyed having the label until soon after that the label went over to CBS, and the rest is history of some sort, call it pleasant or unpleasant. But I know that you're into fishing. I know you're into writing songs. And tell me a good fishing story. What's the best thing that's happened to you in a boat when you had a fish on the line?
Well, I caught one at the other house we just moved out. I've moved over here. I called my wife on the phone and said, "You come down and help me get this fish out of the lake."
Big, huh?
She come down fussing at me, and I said, "That's big fish."
Wow.
So I got it to the dock, got it out, and it's a pretty good sized catfish.
It was a catfish. Well, some of the boogers get big, don't they? You know,
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about crappies. I know there are crappies in the lake up there. When I first went to Nashville, I was lucky enough to go right to work at a top 40 radio station in the morning show. It was WKDA before they went country, and Jack Stapp was the manager, and I had to give a fishing report. Well, I came from the Gulf Coast of Texas, and we knew about water and fish in the coast there. But up there, I didn't know about the lake thing, and I said, and the crappie are running heavy today at Old Hickory Lake because it was spelled crappie, and the phones lit up. But anyway, I was corrected quickly on that. Bobby, you've written so many songs for so many people. A lot of them some really, really big songs too. Name me a couple of artists, or tell me all the artists that you can recall, which are a lot, that were recording your song.
Tanya Tucker.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That was your first hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was 12 years old when Buddy Killen called me up to the office and introduced me to her. I asked her if she was hungry. I took her over to what turned out to be Mario's, was a pizza place then.
Right.
And got her pizza. Took my guitar and sang her Jamestown Perry.
Wow.
She sang it back to me, a cappella.
Really? I'll be darned.
Yep.
She absorbed it that quickly.
Yeah, and the thing about it was, Love's the Answer was the A side of that record. Jamestown Perry was the B side.
Really? I didn't know that.
And I had the record in my hand. I went up to KDA, and Tony Maddox was a disc jockey there at the time.
Yes.
And one of my best friends, because he was in French Alley every night, and he started playing that record. I mean, he's playing the edges of that damn record. And Billy Sherrill called him and said, who told you could play that record? Tony told him, man, this is free country. I played any damn thing I want to.
Oh, that's good. That was a big record, too.
The night it became number one, it was DJ convention, and I called Tony Maddox up on stage in the Western Room and gave him a damn statue as tall as he was, with gold trophies and things on it. First disc jockey in America to play the record.
I'll be darned. Well, that is good. And that was such a big record, too. But you had another Tanya record, too, when I was at MCA.
Oh, The Only Home I'm Ever Raised. Tanya, Texas When I Die.
Texas When I Die, yeah, that was a huge record. And then, of course, everybody. I mean, if you don't know I'm the Only Hell Mom Ever Raised, you've been living under a rock. That's been such a big record for a long time. I
remember The Only Hell Mom Ever Raised. Nick Hunter comes to me and says, okay, Bobby, paycheck's cut it, but it ain't going to be on the album. Really? A week comes back and he says, okay, it's on the album, but it ain't going to be a single. 2 weeks go by and comes back and says, okay, single, but it ain't going to be a hit.
That's funny. That was funny. That record stayed number one more than 1 week, I think.
Yep.
Because it was an extraordinarily big record. And I think it played across the board on some pop stations also. Now, I'm saying this by memory, Bobby. I don't know for sure.
Well, Willie just cut it.
Oh, he did? I'm the Only Hell Mom Ever Raised?
Yeah, sure did.
Good. Never hurts to get a Willie cut. It never does.
It never does.
Well, I got to tell you something. I was looking at a page that I had bought in Billboard magazine. Playboy had bought in Billboard magazine, and it's a page of the artists. To see, you're on the upper right. Gilly Boy is in the middle. There's a picture of all the artists we had up there. Sunday's in there, Sunday Sharp. But you and Gilly there are the feature in that because you were our two mainstay artists on the label. We had the most chart records, you and Gilly, and we depended on you a lot for songs. We depended on you a lot for your records and your unique sound. So, Bobby, I got to tell you one more thing. I'm doing all the talking. You need to be doing the talking. You had some magic that everybody looks for. The magic to me is your sound. If you have to wait till the guy on the radio tells you who has just sung that record, then you really didn't have a sound. If you turn the record on, a radio on, you hear a record and it sounds like, oh, wow, that's so-and-so, then you've got a sound. And you had a unique sound, which was a good sound, and one that was recognizable. And I think people took it to heart. And you always, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm talking to a great songwriter right now, Bobby Borchers. I always pictured that singers were really song salesmen. Their job was to sell the song. And if you could sell the song, you got them in the boat.
Yep, that's it.
You think that's it? I think it is. Jerry Lee Lewis could sell a song. He could make it his own.
One of the greatest compliments I ever got in my life was I was in the Western Room.
Yeah.
And Jerry Lee Lewis was there. And I sang She Even Woke Me Up to Say Goodbye.
Right.
And Jerry stood up and gave me a standing ovation.
Good. It must have impressed the heck out of him. And I'm sure it did. But it's such a good time to be alive today. But in a way, it's kind of sad. You and I talked about briefly the other day about Music Row not being Music Row anymore and it not being a Music Row. And that's sad because we came up with in the day when Music Row, well, Bobby, that's where the magic was. You know that. You were right in the middle of it.
Well, we lived through a very fortunate time.
We did. The rest of the folks that came along, they'll never understand really what they missed. The camaraderie, the friendship. You know, we might have a fight one day with somebody, and the next day is your best friend. You know, it's just one of those things. It's like a family deal, a little family feud, isolated to 16th Avenue. But I was there some years back, Bobby, and the only building that I saw that was still there was the Warner Brothers building. But now they tell me that, you know, everything's gone.
I think RCAB is still there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a museum. The interesting thing, I can tell you this, and you may not know it's gone. You remember in RCAB, and for the folks that are listening now, Bobby and I are talking about a recording studio in Nashville. And RCA had two, Studio A, Studio B. Studio B was the original one. And everybody recorded there from Elvis on down to. And remember, Bobby, there was a board between the console and the little waiting area when you walked out of the studio. And everybody had signed that board from Elvis. And everybody that recorded there signed that board. I think it was a 1x6. And I went there and actually paid to get in because it's a tourist deal now. The board's gone. Somebody that was doing the remodeling got the board. And I wanted to scream, who has the board? That board had every autograph in the world on it from Elvis on, you know. Anybody that recorded there, I'm sure you signed it.
Yep.
So it's gone now anyway, but that's a little bit of information. If you go to the Hall of Fame Museum in Studio B, the board ain't there, so don't be disappointed. Bobby, what song are you working on now? Anything particular?
Oh, I got a few songs. Got a thing called Love's a Full-Time Job.
Oh, that's good. Good thought. Because it is. You know,
good work. Good work if you can find it. Not with faint of heart, not with faint, single-minded.
No, you know what I was thinking of the other day? Matter of fact, I told Liz. Liz has heard a lot about you because she knows our relationship was close. And you were one of my, not only pals, but premier recording artists I worked with. That, I don't know, good songs are not born, they're made and crafted. And I was listening to, I'm the only hell that Mama ever raised the other night, and I was listening to, there's not a throwaway line in there. There's not a line that you put in there just because it rhymed. And those are the songs that are crafted well by true craftsmen. And I compliment you on that.
Well, thank you.
There's, another thing too. You did me a huge favor one time. You saved my butt, really. May have saved my job. Hell, I don't know. May have. But I needed a song for Barbie Benton. Who in the world can I turn to for a song for Barbie Benton? She can't hardly say hello. Hello, Eddie. And I need a song for her, and I've got to cut a hit record for her. What I done, and I asked you, and I don't know if Mac was in the room or not, and I said, I need a hit song for Barbie Benton. And just go write me a custom song. And it wasn't but just a day or two, short time, that you brought in Brass Buckles. And I said, that's it. It was almost like her biography or something. And it was just perfect. And we cut it and it went top 5. And I bailed after that. Quit when you're ahead.
Well, it was a good session. I remember teaching to her one line at a time.
No, one line at a time. We thought we were making progress, better than one word at a time. But you know what? her whole deal was, and you and I discussed it, she really couldn't relate to regular lyrics about regular people and regular lives, but she could relate to Brass Buckles because it was her biography. You actually wrote her biography when you wrote Brass Buckles.
Yep.
And that was, again, you saved my butt there because after all, she was my boss's daughter. I mean, girl. Could have been his daughter. She was young enough. But she was actually his girlfriend, and so you better produce for the boss's girlfriend. I'm talking about Hugh Hefner. Hef was awfully nice, you know. He was, tell me about, it's better coming from your words. Let me set this up. Okay, Bobby, give me just a minute. I'll set it up. Okay. Playboy Records, new on the scene. They've got Bobby Borchers, they've got Mickey Gilley, a couple others, but we're not in the class of RCA, and we're not in the class of Columbia, the big labels with the huge rosters and so forth, so on. So I went to a dear friend of mine, Joe Walker, who was running the Country Music Association, and I said, hey, I'd like to have a Playboy show. And she was her usual gracious self. And but the end result is we could not have a Playboy show because we weren't big enough. Well, I said, yeah, we will. I'll just rent the Sheridan Ballroom and get everybody that was not on a show, like Jerry Lee Lewis and some others, to come over and be on the Playboy show. That way we got a hell of a show. You were on that show, of course. Now, we had the show. It was a very expensive show because we had an open bar and about 1,500 people drinking booze and having fun. Hef was kind enough to come in and bring some decorations, meaning some bunnies, brought some bunnies to kind of scatter around the room. Now, you take it from there.
Well, Barbie Benton's bringing Hugh Hefner over, and she was in the studio and recording. Her tape was running. She said, Bobby Borchers, Brass Buckles, Billboard with a Bullet. And said it to Hef. It was on the tape. Hef wanted to meet me.
I'm sure he did. Oh,
but he was gracious as he could be.
Oh yeah, he's always a gentleman. On the day we had a ruckus at the hotel, the Sheridan Hotel, and I think you caused it.
Well, oh yeah. Well, all the musicians had parked their cars out back, and there were so many people there they couldn't get their cars out.
No.
And we're down in the lobby trying to argue with the guy at the desk, get some tow trucks or something so the musicians could get their cars out. He just refused to do it. And you kind of went after him, knocked the whole front of the desk loose.
I did.
Tom Takeyoshi, the president from Hollywood, was there with me.
Yeah.
And I grabbed Tom by the arm, and we went to the elevator. As we went to the elevator, cops were just screaming through that door.
Well, when cops come in, I start leaving. You know, that's my cue to leave. Here come the police. Well, I just think I'll leave. But no, that show, and I'm not bragging to our people listening out there. This is just fact. The Sheridan Hotel was on a big street in Nashville called Broadway. And there were so many people at our show that it blocked the big street Broadway, and the police were out there directing traffic. And we had, I'm guessing now, as I recall, 1,500 people, 1,600 people at the show. That's a lot for a ballroom. And I think the CMA banquet had 350 people. So the CMA, who did not want us to have a show, we kind of outdid them.
There were a few thousand people there, Eddie.
A few thousand? I knew there were a lot. There was a whole lot. And gosh, it's just an amazing thing. Bobby, I'm really blessed now. I've got a wonderful wife. I had to sift through a few, Bobby. And I've got a wife that has a lot in common. We both love horses, both ride. And she's pretty darn handy for sure with them. She competes in working range horse competition. But I was telling her about songwriting and so forth. I think you can set it up better than I can, being a successful writer as you are, having written so many hits. Where a song starts, how it starts, and so forth and so on. How do you probably started 24 songs in two different ways. But basically, what do you start with?
Generally start with a thumb pick.
Right. And then from there?
Kind of make a rhythm on bass guitars, on bass strings.
Right.
And some lines will come to me, and I put two or three together, and they go together, and I'll put some more together.
You're looking for a feel, first of all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I've got an analogy about that, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. When I'm doing a record, when I'm mixing a record, when we're making a record, I always say we instead of me, because it's the artist involved, the players are involved, and everybody's input is there. I think a person has to feel it in their stomach first, and then they'll feel the melody, and then they'll eventually get to the lyrics. But something's got to lead them to the lyrics. Do you agree with that or not? Or do you want to start with lyrics?
Well, I kind of start with lyrics.
Do you? Okay. Well, that's why you're a successful writer and I'm not. Okay, you start with the lyrics. You're driving down the road and you say, I must be the only hell mom I ever raised. Was that the hook that started you with the song?
Well, Mac Vicker and I were sitting in my office over on Engle Avenue in East Nashville.
Yeah.
And it was an old stone-covered cottage. We were talking about being kids.
Yeah.
And I just looked at Mac and said, man, I'm the only hell my mom ever raised.
Wow, hit line.
And Mac just jumped up and said, shit, we need to write that.
For sure, and you did.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great song that was. How many times has that song been recorded? Or was that, Bobby, wait a minute. Or was that one of those songs that once it was done by somebody and it became such a big record that no one else didn't want to fool with it because they couldn't beat it?
It was recorded, held laid around for 15 years.
It did.
Poor Paycheck did it.
Really?
Yeah.
You're echoing what I say. Good songs don't get old. They're like cream. They'll always rise to the top. Leave them there laying. That was 15 years before the song was recorded. Wow, I did not know that. I thought I knew a lot about Bobby Borchers.
Well, you do, Eddie. I guess about as much as anybody I know.
I know we've been friends a long time, and better than that, we work together a lot. And when you work with someone, you get to know them pretty darn good. I just don't know where to start in talking about some of your songs, though. I don't mind mentioning it on the podcast, because if I don't mention it here, when you listen to this podcast, if you do, it will remind you I want a copy of God Bless Robert E. Lee, and I'm giving me you for Christmas. Just Borchers guitar, all I want. Those two of my favorite songs that you've ever written.
I'll have to do that. You know who Charlie Crockett is?
Yeah, I know the name.
Charlie Crockett just recorded Jamestown Ferry.
He did? Well,
Yep.
That is good. What label is he on? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, well, they'll come out.
He toured out west. He's got a bus on. I know he's touring.
Good deal. Well, he's doing your music, so that ought to get him on down the road. Are you working any performances now, or are you just pretty much retired from the road?
Well, no, I just did part my last tour bus. Well, probably about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Liz dug up something on where this was years ago, at Church Street Station in Florida. She had that on YouTube. And I came in and she was watching it, and I said, that's Bobby. She said, yeah, I know, I'm watching it. She's from Florida, so she was familiar with the venue. So,
well, Bob Snell, the richest guy in the world, owned that place.
Really?
And that place, Church Street Station, he's dead now. He went on some cross the country air balloon ride.
Yeah.
Never came back.
My gosh. Well,
he bought timber from all over the world and had it brought to that location.
Is that right?
And brought craftsmen in from all over the world to build that place with no nails.
It was all pegs, huh?
Yep, and stained glass windows. It's beautiful.
I wish I'd have been there. Is it still existing, or is it gone? Do you know?
Yeah.
It is?
It's still existing. Well, both sides of the street, you turn to nightclubs.
Oh, okay.
He came to Printer's Alley with an old friend of mine, Zeke Shepard, who I brought to Nashville from Canada.
Yeah.
And Zeke played harmonica on God Bless Robert E. Lee.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. You know, Johnny Cash cut that.
Did Cash cut that, Robert E. Lee?
Yeah, Cash cut it.
I did not know that. Well,
And
I would rather hear you sing it than Johnny Cash.
he brought Bob Snow there. He's on Printer's Alley, and he went down there to Orlando on Church Street Station. He bought all of Church Street Station.
He did.
He bought presidential train cars and had them all there too. But he owned all of Church Street Station.
Now, I could ask Liz, but I'll ask you. Where is that located in Florida? In Orlando or where?
Orlando.
Orlando, okay. That's the hub of everything down there, I think. I took my brother down there and his wife one time, and I think he's the only person alive that can say that he's drank beer in every country. Every time we go to another country, he'd say, "Brother, I think I need a beer." Well, he drank in every country, and he was still upright. But
Church Street Station, you could drink. I mean, they had Rosie O'Grady's right across the street.
Yeah.
A genuine Irish pub.
Oh, wow. That would be fun to go to.
I had a song one time, Eddie, that I saved forever trying to get George Jones cut it and lost touch with George Jones.
Yeah.
I didn't see George again until I went to the funeral.
Right.
Jerry Chestnut and I wrote it called Old Rainbows Never Know Where to End.
Wow, what a good title.
And hell, what a good song.
I imagine.
Chestnut did the demo on it. I mean, hell, I tried to demo it and I couldn't touch Chestnut's demo.
Really? Sometimes that happens, you know.
Tree's got it.
Wow. Man, I'd love to hear that too. I just love listening to good songs, and I don't hear good songs anymore since people like you and some others aren't around. You and Chestnut, Chestnut's gone. Thank God you're still here. Harold Shedd and I were talking the other day about how many people we've lost, and the good writers and the good publishers and the good record industry people from the era that you and I came from. And it's sad. There's nobody carrying the torch, so you better not die, okay?
I don't have any plans on dying anytime soon anyway.
Well, I don't either, but I'm in the last quarter. The clock is running, and I'm out of timeouts. So, that's kind of where I am now. I was laughing with Shedd about that. He said, he still talks real Southern. He said, yeah, I'm all right with that. Yeah, I'm all right with that. I said, well, if you're all right with it, I am. But I'll tell them when I talk to Shedd, I'm going to tell him I talked to you because he always thought a lot of you. And Harold did a lot in our industry up there and did a lot of good records and a good guy. Bobby, what are your plans for the future? Just to stay there and write?
I'm just going to stay here and write.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to tell you something. If I haven't told you, I don't think I have because we haven't talked. You're a fisherman.
Yeah.
Bobby Bear and Jerry Reed were obsessive fishermen and the closest of friends. You see one, you see the other, and they fish together every day. And so, unfortunately, Reed came down fatally ill, terminally ill, I should say, and he was dying. Well, his best friend in the whole world, Bobby Bear, is going up to the hospital to see him. He goes up to the hospital, and true story, by the way, Bobby. And Jerry's laying in bed. He's got all kind of wires hooked up to him, and he said, Bear, I might go anytime. They say I don't have but just a few days maybe to live. And Bear didn't say anything. Pretty soon, Reed said, aren't you going to say anything? Bear said, yeah, can I have your fishing poles?
That sounds like Bobby.
It sounds like Bobby Bear, doesn't it? He has such a dry sense of humor. But no, it's been a pleasure renewing and revisiting with you after a long time. And let's don't lose phone numbers. This time, do not lose my phone number. I won't lose yours. It's in my phone. I welded it in. And it's super glued in, and it won't go anywhere. And you call me anytime you want to visit because I love visiting with you, love telling old stories, and love the fact that you're living a good life, Bobby. We need to spend the rest of our days just taking it easy and enjoying everything we can.
We'll just stay in touch with Jesus.
Absolutely. He's on my mind every day. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. Bobby, I don't want to be on a Kilroy deal, okay? But I've always considered things that good that happened to me God things, because I didn't really set out to do this or do that, you know. It just happened. And I did an interview with a guy at a radio station that was doing interviews on record producers. And that's a weird thing to choose. I'm going to interview a lot of record producers because they're all going to say basically the same thing. And he sent me a tape, and it ran for an hour. Well, he talked a lot, or I did one. And I did not realize how many times I had said in that conversation it was a God deal. Somebody said, well, how'd the Playboy thing happen? I said, I don't know, it was a God deal. Well, how did this happen? It was a God deal. I didn't have anything to do with it. And that was true, Bobby. It was just things that happened, so I could only attribute them to God and His mercy, and hey, it happened, and I was always grateful for it. And I've told people that story before, but never on a podcast where everybody could hear it. But yeah, I attribute everything. My wife was a God deal. Wait a minute. I got to tell you another story. Let's just turn it into a damn Kilroy interview. Supposed to be, but you're running out of stories on me. I always say you meet the nicest people at Willie Nelson's picnic, because that's where I met Liz. And I talked to her on the phone before when I was on the radio at XM Radio, and I had 1-800 number listeners called. But I hadn't met her, and I noticed she had a Willie cap that she had bought. And I said, would you like me to get Willie to autograph that for you? And she said, well, yeah, okay. And so I just took that, went on the bus, and I said, Will, would you autograph this, please? And he did, and I took it back to her. 2 years later, after we're married, she fesses up that she thought I had signed the cap. She said, well, I didn't know you, and I didn't know you knew Willie that well. And I said, what am I going to sign? That'd be like me, I'll get you a Borchers cap, give it to me, and then I'll go and write Bobby on it, you know. Yeah. But anyway, that's part of life and part of what we go through. But Bobby, you're a special guy, God-given talent, actually God-given talent. I can't say that about too many people, especially this day and time when electronically the tuning is done. And I don't have to tell you about it. In the olden days, I hate to say the olden days, but in the golden days, when it's gold, people just sang. You know, you either could sing or you couldn't sing. And there were exceptions that we had to manually do it. It was much harder. Like we talked about getting Barbie on tape. We had to do that manually because she didn't naturally sing. But nowadays, everybody's in electronic tuning, and heck, I guess I could go sing. I don't know. That may be a challenge even for electronics. So I better stay out of that. But no, you had a natural talent, a natural ability to connect with people, both through your writing and in person. I've seen you on shows before, and you connected with people and communicated with them. And that means you have magic. And it's the same way with a singer. They either have the magic or they don't. And anyone can have the magic if they're running for something or pursuing a career or whatever. You had the magic in your writing and your artistic singing. So that was my feeling. But
when I lived in California, Eddie,
yeah,
I had a next door neighbor named Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, good guy.
And I went to one of his parties up at the ranch. And I'm going to stand in line to meet him. And everybody's giving him political questions. He reached to shake my hand and said, tell me about Death Valley days. he walked over to a bale of hay and said, have a seat. I sat down. He told me all about Death Valley days. Said, good thing anybody remembered that.
Darn.
20 Mule Team Borax.
20 Mule Team Borax. That's right.
He's a nice guy.
Well, he is. And, you know, Bobby, I hope that people will take this opportunity to hear our visit together, because it's genuinely been two old friends that work together and were friends together. And we'll always have a friendship, and I'll always respect your ability and your talent. And I thank you so much for being able to share that with me in the years at Playboy Records when we made good records. And you wrote great songs. And Mac Vickery's gone now. I thought the world of Mac, and I know that you and Mac were like brothers and very, very close. And not only professionally, but personally. So I'm sorry Mac's gone. There's so many gone. We're still hanging in here. So let's continue to be representatives of real country music the best we can in this world we live in.
I'm just proud to be a part of it, Eddie.
Yeah, me too, Gordon. You were a big part of it, and you still are remembered. And you look at, you go to YouTube sometime and check out the views you've had. They're quite impressive. A lot of people have gone there to watch your stuff that you posted on YouTube. And, well, Bobby, all I can say is God bless you and God bless Robert E. Lee. And God bless all our friends out there that are watching this podcast. You know, too, I got to remind people, Bobby, I ask them to subscribe to this podcast. There's a little subscribe sign. And hit that subscribe, and that way it builds it up. I'm trying to build it up into something where we'll be the last platform where people can get informed about true country music. You know, I haven't had too many people on live with me. Matter of fact, I can name them Harold Shedd, Dale Sellers. He had great stories. Session player for people that don't know. Janie Fricky. Janie's been on. Leona and some, but most of our friends have passed away and gone home to be with the Lord. But those that are out there, I would like to visit with all of them, and I'm going to do that. I'm glad you're here. In the meantime, Bobby Borchers, you're way, way, way at the top of my list as one of my favorite guys, one of my favorite talents that I've had the chance to know, much less the chance to work with. And I want you to be blessed and have a wonderful rest of your life.
I want you to be blessed, Eddie. Your wife, too.
I will, pal. God bless you. Gosh, I told you we'd have a good time with Bobby Borchers. What a talented guy. You know, before I get out of here, I want to mention one more time our sponsor, Total Feed. I cannot say enough about Dr. Harry Anderson and what he's done in formulating feed for so many species of animals, including humans. Why do you think people so good all the time? It's Total Human from Total Feed, and Total Bull, and Total Goat, and Total Canine. And of course, again, I'll mention Total Equine because our horses have been on it for years and they show it. I want you to look at this. See that logo? You watch for that. Anywhere you see it, no matter what you see it on, whether it's for dogs, cats, goats, bulls, horses, buy it. It's good. Total Feeds. I'm Kilroy. See you next time. God bless each and every one of you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music. If you have any thoughts or questions about the content, email them. Kilroy Outlaws and Legends, all one word, at yahoo.com. That's Kilroy, no S, Outlaws and Legends, all one word, at yahoo.com. And don't forget to subscribe. Third-party use of any part of this podcast without the expressed consent of Eddie Kilroy is prohibited. The Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music podcast is a production of Eddie Kilroy.